According to the report, there have been over 2,000 properties sold in the first 6 months of 2023. That number was down compared to a year ago by almost 900 units. The value of the properties sold was $830 million. This down as well compared to the $1.2 billion from the year before. As of the end of June, there are over 3,600 properties of all types for sale in northern BC. Prices on average got to just over $420,000. That number is just shy of the peak from last year at $431,500. And the houses are taking longer to sell as well, with days on market rising 7% from last year, about 77 days, so a little over 2.5 months on the market. Going through the areas of the Northwest, starting in Prince Rupert, 79 properties sold so far this year compared to 115 from last, worth $30.7 million compared to $52.4 million, with a single-family home having a median price of $437,500, on average taking 88 days to sell. Moving east into Terrace with 147 properties sold this year compared to 172 of last, worth $64.6 million compared to $70.4 from last year. Just over 42 of the homes sold in Terrace sold for less than $500,000, spending on average 64 days on the market. South we go to Kitimat with 92 properties being sold in the first 6 months compared to 104 from a year ago. Combined worth for this year of $54.2 million, up from last year's 36. 29 of the homes have been sold for less than $372,000, taking roughly 83 days to sell. Further east to Hazelton, which is a new stat area and used to be considered a part of Smithers' stats, 11 properties sold in Hazelton this year with $2.9 million compared to 16 properties worth $4.3 million last year. Moving on to Smithers with a 72 sales and a value of $34 million in the first 6 months compared to 90 sales and $46 million from last year. 19 of the homes sold so far this year have been less than $500,000 in Smithers, taking on average 62 days to sell. Further east to Houston with 23 properties worth $5.9 million compared to last year's 35 properties and $8.5 million. Into Burns Lake now with 23 properties worth $6.4 million compared to 44 properties last year worth $12.2. Last year almost cut in half for Burns Lake. And finally in Vanderhoof with 48 sales reported worth $21.3 million compared to 50 sales worth $17.7 last year. So Vanderhoof claiming an increase in the prices. And speaking of increases in prices, only 4 communities in the Northwest claiming an increase in the average prices of houses sold, with Burns Lake leading the way up $40,000 in the average price, followed by Vanderhoof just over 23, Terrace with under 18, and Kitimat with just over 4. 3 communities claiming losses in the average price of houses sold, with Houston taking the biggest hit of them all, losing $52,000, followed by Smithers at $36,000, and not far behind is Prince Rupert losing over $23,000 on the average price of a house.